Morning, friends. This is Dolynny TV. Glad to have you aboard here this evening, this morning. Whenever you're getting a chance to tune in, it's New Year's Eve. We're gonna have a rockin' party today, that's for sure. Of course, you're gonna have to party for me, but that's fine and dandy. Of course, as well. Get home safe. That's the biggest thing here. If you need. For my friends in Cold Lake this evening, Operation Red Nose, they got you. They'll get you home, and we should be good to go for what should be a really fun night here to close out what has been a really fun year in 2024. Now, that said, friends, we're at that point of the year in the Oilers organization where, oh, those guys we had last year are so much better than the guys we have this year. We'll talk about that here in a matter of moments, but if you are new to the channel, friends, I want you to consider over the rest of the video, over the course of checking out the channel here that is Dolynny TV, hitting that subscribe button. Free, easy, simple to do. If you got a YouTube account, get it done. We're closing in on 17,500 subscribers as we go live tonight for Canada versus the USA. Oh, you forgot. You thought I didn't remember. Oh, yes. No, we're ready to rock and roll for what should be a good matchup here to determine Pool A at the 2025 World Juniors. Now, that said, the Oilers, friends, yeah, they have some guys. Adam Henrique, Matthias Janmark, Connor Brown, Corey Perry, Victor Arvidsson, and, oh, by the way, as well, as far as I know at this point this morning, we still have Jeff Skinner. Now, give that half an hour for me to get to work, and I guarantee you, by the time I've gotten the old Timmy's in the drive-thru and sitting outside work thinking about going in over the next 5 minutes, I'll be reading that Jeff Skinner's been traded or something crazy. So bear with me. But for the Edmonton Oilers, bunch of older veteran guys that are here to win, here to get the job done. After the Oilers, younger forwards, more not so lethal in the playoffs at times, and sometimes lethal in the playoffs at others. Players couldn't get the job done against the Florida Panthers last year. Now, the Oilers, despite really being a very differently dynamic team this year compared to last year, have not had worse results overall in the standings. In fact, the results are very kind to the Edmonton Oilers here as we enter the final game this evening against the Utah Hockey Club, despite what has felt like a very underachieving season thus far for the Edmonton Oilers. And while guys like Dylan Holloway, Philip Broberg, Ryan McLeod, Warren Foegele all go on everywhere else and have some really nice years, it really doesn't seem at all in the points standings, at least entering 2025, like it has truly affected the Oilers to lose those players. From a fan perspective, a fan perception, it sure has. My goodness, everybody's celebrating on July 1st the moves made by Jeff Jackson, and all of a sudden by December 31st, everybody's ready to run Stan Bowman and Jeff Jackson out of town. Now, that said, you don't hire Stan Bowman, maybe a lot of the discredit to Jeff Jackson goes away. Just saying. I don't know. Did we really need a GM, let alone Stan Bowman? That's not me to say. I have my own opinions, and opinions, as I said in the video last night, are like you know what, and everybody's got one, and who cares? So we move on. But for the Oilers here in action going into this evening, is it a little bit of, what is that? The memories are a little bit prettier now because we're not looking at them through the current lens, if that makes sense. I know there's a term for it. It's too early in the morning right now, pardon me. But yeah, no, right now as things get going here today, I think it's very clear for the Edmonton Oilers that, maybe, yeah, it sucks that Broberg's doing well. It sucks that Holloway's doing well. And the guys that we brought in aren't quite performing up to snuff yet. But you have to look at what the vision is here for the Edmonton Oilers. The vision is not to run this current team that some view as worse than last year. Again, what are you comparing? This current team against the team on December 31st last year? Because if you're asking me, this team, despite the terrible efforts in Anaheim and Los Angeles here over the weekend, is much better than the version of the team we had December 31st. Yeah, we were living a high and running this crazy win streak, but overall, part to part, I'll take this team all day over last year's team at this time of the year, right? We were less than a month removed from me wearing a squirrel costume this time last year or thereabouts, right? 40 days or less. So We didn't have to do that this year, and this team's done it in a very different fashion, and that's okay, right? This team's just figuring it out, and it'll be what it'll be. But what you need to understand here, and what I am very much so in opposition to, is everybody's like, "Wow, we could have kept Broberg." No, no, I don't know when it's going to sink in for those cynical people that sit here and think the Oilers just absolutely screwed the pooch by going out there and not signing Broberg. He was not coming back. No matter what, he was waiting for an offer sheet and gone the first chance he could get. That was frankly it. And a lot of folks had already written off Broberg as a guy too soft, not enough development, wasn't going to do it. And then all of a sudden, 2 rounds in the playoffs changes everything, and he's the franchise-saving defenseman we thought he was when we drafted him. No. Give your head a shake. Again, Broberg has been victim, almost in his own right, to so much capability of playing time in St. Louis that, quite honestly, he's not getting here. He was not going to play ahead of Matthias Ekholm or Evan Bouchard here. I don't know what you know about the St. Louis blue line, but Philip Broberg's about the best thing they got going for him over there, and that's not really saying much either. So, yeah, tough part there, and tough look for the people still thinking we should have signed Broberg, because it just was not happening. When it comes to Dylan Holloway, would you have loved to have him back after the playoffs he had? Sure. But you got to remember the regular season, in which, what did he do? Not very much. Jeff Skinner's done more here today in the regular season so far for the Edmonton Oilers, I guarantee it, than Dylan Holloway did all regular season for the Edmonton Oilers last year. Again, right? Looking back at the past through rose-colored glasses. That's the phrase, that's the term I was looking here for this morning. Again, Dylan Holloway last year for the Oilers in 38 games had 9 points. Jeff Skinner has more points than that through 38 games, and he's been scratched and playing on the 4th line. That's facts. That, I don't know what you know, but that is facts. And again, yes, okay, sure, Dylan Holloway would have taken Vasily Podkolzin's spot this year. He would have lit it up next to Draisaitl and Arvidsson. Woulda, coulda, shoulda, shove it. That's what I'm going to tell you. Because if Dylan Holloway would have struggled the same as he did last year and got hurt right out of the gate or something stupid, you would have been yelling that he's a bust just all the same. Maybe I'm a little fired up this morning. Maybe, just maybe. And again, when it comes to Warren Foegele, quite honestly, didn't do anything last year until he was forced to play on the top 6 with Ryan McLeod and Leon Draisaitl, and suddenly, because Draisaitl's the second best player in the NHL, him and Ryan McLeod started scoring points. Those guys don't have the season they had last year if they toil in the Oilers' bottom 6 all year. I tell you that. So again, oh my goodness, so much is so good. Again, if the Oilers have a healthy Evander Kane all last year, none of that happens. And, again, we're yelling at the end of the year to turf them because they were a waste of contract space, right? Ryan McLeod's not worth $2.1 million, and Warren Foegele absolutely shouldn't get $3 million next year or whatever he's getting this year. Everybody would have been running him out of town. But now all of a sudden, right, you have some guys that come in and underperform while the team still has the same success as last year to this point, and suddenly these guys are gods and would change everything for the Oilers. Again, caution looking at the past through rose-colored glasses. Because just because these guys were great in the playoffs, that means squat in the regular season, just as a good regular season or a bad regular season means squat in the playoffs. You know it, you love it, you hate it, it happens every year. So, again, I think the biggest thing here is, if you haven't watched my video from last night, go back there, watch that again, and check it out, because it kind of details exactly the thought process you need to have behind this team. Yes, am I going to sit here and defend Jeff Skinner as an Edmonton Oilers solution? No, I'm not. Okay, we know Jeff Skinner's got to get traded here, and I'm fine with that. That's a mistake the Oilers can get out from underneath. There's plenty of teams that have something we want that we can trade Jeff Skinner for, and it's all going to work out because he wants to play. That's Jeff Skinner. He just wants to play in a place that's going to allow him some minutes instead of being stapled to the bench in the 4th line role or scratched in the press box. Jeff Skinner did not come here for that, and he does not want to be here to do that. I guarantee that. I understand he wants to win, but if it ain't going to happen here, he's going to look elsewhere, and that's fine and dandy. But what I will tell you is thinking that the Oilers would be so much better with the guys that everybody hated to this point last year because they weren't producing, I think is just nonsensical. And it's, again, just looking at the past through rose-colored glasses because you're dissatisfied with what you got right now, despite the results being equal or better than this point last year. Simple? Good enough? Everybody happy? Happy New Year. We're rocking New Year's Eve this evening. Go enjoy it. Have a blast. Get home safe. Use the keys please kind of ride services that take your vehicle home too, so as you can get around on New Year's Day. Heaven forbid you can't go get that OJ in the morning or whatever you need to start feeling better. And get going here, friends. The Edmonton Oilers about to buckle up for 2025, and just like last year, yeah, you know it, you love it. It's going to be the same old shenanigans as we get through the meat grinder that is January, February, trade deadline, April, and then the playoffs. And let me tell you, the best time of the year, every single season, is not the playoffs when it comes to this channel. It's the early part of the year where the Oilers suck. But I'm looking forward to being back down there, feeling the energy, out in the moss pit, out in downtown Edmonton, driving around those streets. Coming up here in June. It's only 6 months away. Get to it. Get ready. It's going to be a blast. I am up on out of here.